Hello, my name is Lucas, and I work for a nonprofit organization called Tubman. Some of you may have heard of Tubman. We are named after Harriet Tubman. Our organization was set up in the 1970s, and we felt our mission and values were in line with what Harriet Tubman believed and sought: safety, hope, and healing. At Tubman, I am known as a youth educator in a program called Voices in Prevention. Basically, our program comes into your schools and talks about different topics regarding healthy relationships, unhealthy relationships, violence, trauma, and other topics. We also provide resources and supportive information that you can use or pass along to someone else. With that stated, we should all have this information on hand, as everyone knows someone experiencing violence, whether you realize it or not. One thing that can affect each of us in our relationships is our emotions and how we deal with our emotions. Oftentimes, when we experience anger, it is to mask for other feelings. Feelings such as feeling unimportant, inadequate, or unloved. The goal is to understand why we are angry and what we are really feeling. When the time is taken to recognize the underlying triggers, it can prevent aggressive reactions like yelling, calling someone names, or physically hurting someone. After listening to this lesson, it is my hope that you personally will be aware of how you control your emotions. We all have the ability to control how we act and or react to situations that may make us upset and or angry. Sometimes all it takes is looking deeper inside ourselves and asking ourselves, is this the me I want to be right now? If it is not, then we need to do some exploring on how we can change how we react to situations that may make us feel vulnerable, scared, upset, and hurt. With that said, let's dive a little deeper into the topic of emotions so we can develop safe and healthy relationships. Innate worth is the truth that you are lovable, valuable, worthwhile, acceptable, adequate, good enough, important, and equal. Others may choose to criticize us, disrespect us, ignore us, reject us, judge us, or disregard us. This does not take away our innate worth. Your innate worth cannot be challenged or taken away. Mistaken beliefs are ideas or interpretations which in any way diminish, invalidate, or contradict the truth of our innate worth. Mistaken beliefs can include thinking or feeling we are unlovable, without value, worthless, unacceptable, inferior, defective, or unimportant. It is our job to nurture, honor, and protect our innate worth. When we get upset, feel strong emotions such as anger, anxiety, sadness, hurt, usually something has caused us to question our innate worth. Examples could be missing the winning shot in a basketball championship, or when our significant others don't understand what we are trying to say to them. That is the pain that underlines the emotion we feel, upset and angry, sadness, etc. So it goes that we might get angry, but it is tied to an underlying feeling that we believe is threatening our innate worth, such as we may feel worthless, unappreciated, misunderstood, etc. So basically, if we turn an upsetting situation into a depressing situation, we are only hurting our innate worth. We must try to turn the upsetting situations into more positive situations with positive thoughts and self-talk, such as, yeah, I missed the game-winning shot, but I had a really good season. Or when my significant other doesn't understand what I'm trying to say to them, I could get mad, or I could take a deep breath and try to calmly explain it in another way. Unregulated emotion is when a person allows their emotion to overpower them and influence their behavior in a negative way. So for the example we had before, missing the shot in the championship game, it's obvious you are upset, but instead of picking up the ball and chucking it into the stands, or picking a fight with the opposing team, which are examples of unregulated emotions, it may be better to accept you lost and try even harder next season. Consequences for regulating emotions are as follows: problems getting along with others, high stress level, trouble with law enforcement. Emotional regulation means handling the issue in a calm, relaxed manner, both outwardly and within. In the example we had before, not being on the same page as your significant other, you could have unregulated emotions and hit your partner, but that is no way to go. Instead, stated before, try to calmly explain your message a different way. Benefits of an emotionally regulated response: people are more likely to listen to you and what you have to say. Less stress, pride in having handled a difficult situation well. So, in regards to how we feel or portray our emotions, we do have a good amount of control. We have the control over our own boundaries. A boundary is a limit that we set for ourselves and others in our lives. Boundaries can be emotional or physical. Emotional boundaries are the limits we set in our relationships, romantic or otherwise, for how personal or intimate we want to be with another person. A continuum is a continuous series of elements or items that vary by such tiny differences that they do not seem to differ from each other. I have a visual continuum I made. Right here we have not violent, and over here we have very violent. Not violent would be more of a 0 on this continuum, this line. 5 is right in the middle, and 10 is very violent. So I thought we could all agree on sharing our school supplies is not violent. Hitting someone is violent, but is it very violent? I thought we could all agree on war, rape, and abuse can be very violent. Everyone's continuum can be different, though. Therefore, in regards to a continuum of emotional boundaries, one should know that if they are too rigid and you never let anyone in, then it may be difficult for you to create lasting and intimate relationships. If they are too loose, then you may put yourself in unsafe situations. Part of being a teenager is figuring out where on the continuum you want to be, with whom, and how to maintain and when to change that position. Have you ever told someone something personal about yourselves and then wished the next second or the next day that you hadn't? This is an example of experimenting with boundaries. This kind of experimentation, as long as it's safe, can help you learn about your own and others' emotional boundaries. As I said before, boundaries can be emotional or physical. Physical boundaries are the limits we set for our physical contact with others. For example, how close do we let someone stand by us? Who do we allow to hug us or kiss us, etc.? We have different boundaries for different people. What is comfortable with their mom may not be comfortable with a stranger at the bus station. Why is that? It keeps us safe. Keep in mind, ours and others' boundaries are always changing. So before going up and hugging your friend in the school hallway, maybe pause and ask them if they are okay with that. Or before kissing your significant other, find out if they are okay with kissing at that moment by respectfully asking them. Having good physical boundaries can be frustrating because, yes, maybe your friend enjoys getting a hug from you each morning you see them before school, but one day they don't. And you might be like, wow, okay, what's wrong with you? But realize it might not be personal, and invading others' boundaries by mistake can happen from time to time. Two important things to remember if you do invade another's boundaries. One, Sincerely apologize in the moment because you don't want to burn that bridge, and you might not know what that person is going through at the moment. 2. Don't be that person to make it a habit of invading people's boundaries. That will just get you into a lot of trouble. It could potentially lead to violence. Preventing violence not only requires looking at the roles others play in our relationships, but also how our own behavior fits into the equation. Identifying and communicating our emotional and physical limits to others, while at the same time acknowledging that others' boundaries may be different from our own, can also guide our behavior and help everyone feel respected and safe. Take from this lesson: 1. Slow down. Try to assess the situation before doing something irrational, because we never know what others are going through. 2. Making a bad situation more positive is hard to do, but in the end, it will be more worthwhile for you. 3. Keep your boundaries in check as best we can. If we make a mistake once in a while, just realize the mistake, apologize, and move forward. And 4. Emotions are tough, like life is tough. So seek support. We are here for you as well as a resource. Teens@tubman.org. Thanks for listening.